Hello guys, I hope and pray that you are fine wherever you are. I welcome you again to this platform. Now, a serious tragedy befell Libya in the course of this month. A deadly flood hit Libya, where authorities reported that nearly or more than 20,000 people died. Part of the blames were thrown on the fighting leaders, that is, the leaders of the two factions, a faction based in Tripoli, the capital, and a faction based in Benghazi, a city in Libya. When the floods hit the city of Dana, the mayor of Dana was blamed for this tragedy, and none other than the BBC posted a tweet on their platform blaming Libyans and Libyan authorities for the deadly floods. According to the BBC, the floods and the people who died did so because of the negligence of the Libyan authorities. In fact, the BBC were directly directing the blames to the authorities based in Dana. In my view, when I saw this tweet, commissioned by a global institution like the BBC, I said that this was hypocritical, because the BBC, as a world news organization, cannot blame the Libyan authorities for the tragedy that is befalling Libya today. I did a video on this platform and I categorically said that if there is somebody to be blamed for the tragedy in Libya, if there is somebody to take responsibility for the lives lost in Libya, and if there is somebody to blame for the current instability in Libya, that is NATO. I said that NATO is to be primarily blamed, solely blamed for the current tragedies facing Libya. Why am I saying that the BBC's post was hypocritical? When we revisit the history of Libya, we find that Libya was progressive. Libya was one of the greatest African countries during the time of Muammar Gaddafi. NATO, the United States, and other NATO members joined forces and accused Muammar Gaddafi of harboring weapons of mass destruction. NATO accused Muammar Gaddafi of violation of human rights. And with these accusations, NATO led an operation to kill Muammar Gaddafi and, in their view, democratize Libya. NATO had two objectives in Libya: eliminating the Libyan leader and creating a functional democracy in Libya. You will all agree with me that even at the time of posting this video, at the time of making this video, Libya was still not a democratic country. And even after eliminating Muammar Gaddafi, Libyans are still fighting. And currently, there is no functional government in Libya. NATO participated directly in the instability currently witnessed in Libya. And the current instability in Libya contributed to the lack of maintenance of these dams and many other facilities in the country. If we are to blame somebody, if we are to make somebody responsible for the current tragedies facing Libyans, then we must blame NATO. We cannot blame the Libyan authorities. We cannot blame the authorities in Dana, and we cannot blame the mayor in Dana. The person and the institution to blame is NATO, because NATO orchestrated, NATO founded, and NATO created the instability currently witnessed in Libya. Libya is currently unstable, and Libyans are still fighting today because of the flaws of NATO. NATO led a delegation to kill Muammar Gaddafi in a view or in a move to create a functional democracy in the country, in a move to create peace in the country. But the otherwise happened. Libya was entrenched in chaos, endless chaos. Even today, Libyans are still fighting. And as a result of this fighting, the government is not capable of maintaining infrastructure. The government is not capable of developing risk management plans. And the lack of these risk management plans, this lack of maintenance of critical infrastructure in Libya are the results of this strategy, are the causes of the flooding, the flooding of the two dams that killed nearly or over 20,000 people this month. The United States, NATO, and the United Nations must take responsibility for the current instability in Libya. And if and only if something happens again in Libya, then the likes of BBC and other news outlets must not blame the Libyans. The BBC must not blame Libyan authorities. The BBC must not blame Dana authorities. And the BBC must not blame the mayor of Dana. The BBC must be open-minded and must be true to their words and blame NATO. NATO must be blamed because they are the cause of the instability currently witnessed in Libya. They are the founders of the insecurity in Libya, and they are the founders of the chaos in Libya today. Because for once, they killed Gaddafi, and that killing embroiled Libya into endless wars. Currently, Libya is divided into east and west. The western side rules from the capital Tripoli, and the eastern side rules from the city of Benghazi. When the tragedy of the floods fell, it occurred and affected the people of the east. Remember, the eastern side is not the government side. The eastern side is the rebel side. The eastern side are being blamed for insecurity in the country. And the eastern side are also blaming the western side for insecurity in the country. At the same time, the BBC is blaming the east and west sides in Libya for the current insecurity in Libya. And in this platform, for me and many others who will agree with me, we blame NATO because NATO are the original founders of chaos in Libya. They are the founders of chaos in Libya. They are the founders of instability in Libya. And they are the founders of, let me say, insecurity in Libya. Libyans died, many Libyans died of the floods, died because of the floods, because of the chaos that NATO founded in 2011. If we are to solve the crisis in Libya, then we must start from where it started. Where did the crisis originate? Where did the chaos originate from? We find that the chaos originated from NATO and the errors of the likes of the United States. If Libya is to progress, and if there is somebody to blame in Libya, and if there is somebody to take responsibility in restoring peace in Libya, that is NATO. They are the primary causes of the chaos in Libya, and they must be in the front line to bring peace in Libya. I find the likes of BBC very hypocritical, although I respect them because of their world coverage and news collection and the rest. But I find them very hypocritical in their reports concerning Libya. They cannot blame Libyan authorities, yet absolving NATO from their crimes in the country. I want to repeat that if there is somebody to blame for the current instability in Libya, if there is somebody to blame for the floods that killed over 20,000 people in Libya, in Dana to be specific, then that is NATO. And it is high time NATO members and NATO countries take responsibility for the instability in Libya. And if they are to absolve themselves from the current happenings in Libya, then they must be in the front line to help Libyans find peace. They must be in the front line to help solve the differences between the two governments in Libya. And until that is done, we will continue to blame NATO for the current instability in Libya. If NATO is to wash itself from the current crisis in Libya, then take important steps, take key steps in solving the current crisis.